How's it going to... sorry about that. Hold on. Alright, so apparently I had the wrong speakers active. Sorry about that, but how's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So over on the Dixie for the daily, we did get a little bit of a roll away, so we are seeing a continued sell-off. Stochastic is dropping our double line. That does bring our red line, our RSI, lower, so I would watch because that will bring price action lower as that RSI goes from being overbought to the oversold area, so up here to down here. Our momentum, our blue wave, does want to round away, and our VWAP is breaking bearish. Remember, this is using our free market ciphers. If I can get this to open, we have market cipher A and market cipher B. These are the two versions right there. They're both free within TradingView, but that VWAP does have a lower low with lower highs. That VWAP is maintaining a bearish trend, that yellow wave, making momentum pull back, and our money flow is starting to go from green to red, so I would watch because that is signaling a trend reversal. And remember, that could be positive for crypto, providing Dixie continues to drop. Usually they have an inverted relationship. Over on this 4 hour, we do have a break of our 300 EMA. Remember, you want to hold above this level if you're going to maintain any kind of a bullish trend. So breaking this could show that the Dixie could start to pull back even further. So we could see that drop. We do have some gapped areas. We do have a support area around the 104. Then we have a big gap way down at that 101. So I would watch for that bigger gapped area. Our RSI does want to pull back. Stochastic is selling off. That VWAP is starting to kind of flatten out just under that neutral area. I would watch if that VWAP starts to make a break for lower lows with these lower highs. We can see momentum remain in the bearish territory. Our money flow would remain bearish, and the daily would start to break down as this 4 hour and the 2 hour are more bearish. If we look at the 1 hour, that's more bearish as well. So we do have that confluence across multiple time frames. Remember, usually when you get that, you can see a strong move one way or the other. Our stochastic is starting to break down. RSI does want to follow. Remember that one way would typically be the trend that we're in. So if we're going into a bearish trend, we could see a strong downturn. Momentum does want to push forward. We do have bullish divergence, but that VWAP isn't really gaining much significant strength. If that VWAP continues to struggle, we will see a continued sell-off here. Over on the 1 hour, you could have a descending triangle, so you have these descending tops and then a pretty flat bottom. I would watch. This could end up breaking us lower. That would push us slower, not by very far. It'd be toward the top to the bottom, so you'd probably get a move to this 105, 104, high 104 area. RSI does want to pull back as that stochastic does want to round, so if our stochastic breaks through the 30, RSI will start to sell off, and we would see continued bearish momentum. Our momentum is trying to push forward with that VWAP being bullish, but the VWAP is struggling to maintain a strong bullish trend. So I would watch if we break through the neutral. If we do break through the neutral, it's very likely momentum will curl away and we will see that continued sell-off. Again, that would be positive for crypto usually. Over on total for the daily, we did have this flag possibility. We are taking about a third of the move down, holding on that 300 EMA. That's very positive because if we can make a bounce from here, we could see a continued push forward, providing we start breaking our higher resistances like the 602, that golden pocket, and the 674. Our stochastic is starting to curl away, RSI is pulling back, VWAP does want to break down, and momentum is rounding after getting that red dot. So overall, I would exercise caution. We don't quite have the same double top here that Bitcoin does have, but we could still see the sell-off based on the flag. So watch if we break this EMA level. If we break this EMA level, that's where we could start to fill the other 2/3 of our breakdown possibility. Again, just because you have a possibility to break down doesn't mean you're going to fill that full breakdown. So DCAing in and out are good ways to go. So if this is a decent support area in your opinion, you may want to buy in just in case we do start to push forward. You don't want to time the market. It's more about time in the market. RSI is pulling back. Our stochastic is flat. VWAP is in the bearish territory. It's trying to break bullish, but we are starting to struggle. If that VWAP starts to round away, we will see momentum remain bearish and money flow will start to break down as well. Over on the 2-hour, we are seeing a strong breakaway after getting a breakdown and a consolidation that created a bear flag that can try to push us down. So I would exercise caution, use your parallel channel, draw that over, pull it down. Then you can draw from the start of your breakdown to your support, and that would give us a breakdown toward around the 548 area. If we continue to break past that, we could see continued bearish momentum, and that would be what would break that EMA on the higher time frames and give us that push to the downside. That VWAP does want to round away, stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI wants to sell off, momentum is starting to curl away, and the money flow is deep in the bearish territory. So I would watch if it does not reverse soon by this VWAP remaining more bullish. We will see continued downside, and we will see lower areas that would result in most of our altcoins selling off. Our stochastic does want to round away here on the 1-hour. RSI is pulling back. That VWAP does have consistent highs with lower lows, so I would watch. If we can't break over that neutral, we will see those higher time frames continue lower, and we will get that breakdown. Momentum does have a red dot as that VWAP is pushing down, bringing money flow lower. So this doesn't look positive for the higher time frames, because if the 1-hour remains bearish, we will see those higher time frames continue to push more bearish as well. So over on Bitcoin dominance, we did see a decent move forward as Bitcoin kind of sold off a little more, or didn't really sell off more than total. So that's why we got our increase. Sorry about that. So we are about another 2% ahead. Yesterday, I believe it was about 1%. So that's why we're seeing this push forward. Remember, when dominance is going up, usually altcoins would sell off. When dominance is going to reverse, usually altcoins could push up. That is in respective to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's losing and altcoins are losing and dominance goes down, that just means altcoins are going to hold their value better than Bitcoin. RSI is pushing up. Stochastic does want to push forward. VWAP is in the bullish territory. Momentum wants to push up with a green dot, and our money flow is gaining strength. So overall, we do look positive with the VWAP remaining bullish and the money flow pushing up. If this can continue, we could see Bitcoin push ahead of our altcoins here. So over on Bitcoin futures, and being in a downtrend, that means altcoins would probably sell off worse than Bitcoin, even though they really haven't gained much. But the caveat to that is Bitcoin and our altcoins, we did get ETF approval for ETH, so that could start to be positive for some of our altcoins. I also saw rumors of SOL ETFs, and some XRP ETFs in other countries. So we have a few things going for us, so I would watch. We are overall following our double top though. We did push to our 57K like we've been warning for several days, and if we cannot hold this level over the next couple days, we could make that break toward 52K, and that would give us that 30K possibility. And remember, if we don't hold that 30K, if we zoom out, we do have our gapped range from the bear market right around 20K yet. So if you're not prepared for that, I would make a plan. So stochastic doesn't want to pull back. We do have our orange above blue. RSI is pulling back. Our VWAP is in the bearish territory. Momentum's pulling back, and money flow is selling off. So overall, we don't look very positive. I would lean more toward the lower time frames in this scenario. We did see that double top give us our full breakdown, so we will delete that, and we are trying to meet support. Again, if we can meet the support here and continue to break up and hold above that 61,790, then we could see continued bullish momentum within our bull flag possibility. So remember, we do have a bull flag possibility. This is our third touch to the bottom. We need to make a push here toward the upside and hold some resistance areas. Otherwise, if we don't start breaking above those key resistance areas, we're going to start breaking key support areas. So zooming back on the 4-hour, RSI is pulling back. Stochastic does want to run up. Our VWAP does want to break bullish. Momentum is gaining strength with a double green dot, and our money flow is pulling back. So the 4-hour doesn't look too positive right now, but that VWAP is trying to give us some strength. So watch if it can remain bullish on lower time frames. We did end up breaking down, filling several gaps. So we filled all of our gaps to the downside. The positive thing with that is if we move back over here, we do have some gaps to the upside. I believe they were on the 1-hour. So if you jump to the 1-hour, we do have a gap right around the 64K. So if we can start to continue this bullish momentum on these lower time frames, this may be a local bottom. But again, just watch for the break of the 67K. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is flat. VWAP is trying to remain bullish. Momentum wants to gain strength with a double green dot. So if that VWAP can remain bullish, money flow will start to reverse. And if we can see that trend reversal here, that will start to strengthen those higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, we are overall pushing down. We did get lower lows with lower highs. They weren't very well connected. Right now, we are trying to get somewhat of a higher high. So if we can continue to push up off this EMA level, we could gain bullish momentum. We do have lower lows. With this would be a lower high if we do make that rejection. So I would watch if we do start to pull back and we get a lower low here. That's where we're going to make another test of that 57K. Our money flow is bearish. VWAP is breaking down. We do have higher highs with higher lows on that VWAP though. So if it can remain bullish, our momentum will continue to push up and our money flow can start to reverse the trend. If we see that, we can continue the bullish momentum. But if that VWAP does break through our neutral, momentum will curl away, money flow would remain bearish, and we would continue to sell off, giving us that bearish scenario and that possible breakdown. Over on Bitcoin, very similar thing. We did have a double bottom possibility. We will delete that. That does show how futures can lead Bitcoin. Even if Bitcoin has a bullish pattern, futures, if it sells off, can negate that pattern and bring Bitcoin down. Stochastic does want to roll away. We do have that orange above blue. That's a bearish cross. RSI is dropping. VWAP is in the bearish territory. Momentum is dropping and money flow is weakening. So overall, we're not very positive. We are trying to make a bounce off our support level. So again, we need to make a strong bounce and continue here. We are starting to break below our support. So I would watch for that break of our 57K. We won't go too deep because Bitcoin futures had pretty much everything. Stochastic does want to round away here on the 2 hour. RSI is pulling back. Our VWAP is starting to pull back. Momentum does want to round and money flow is remaining bearish. So I would watch that VWAP. If that VWAP breaks for a lower low, we will see the bears start to gain control. Over on the 1 hour, we do have that break of support. So watch for a higher low. If we can't get a higher low and we break that 57K, that's where we're going to see lower price targets. VWAP does want to break down. Momentum is rounding, bringing money flow lower. Stochastic is crashing, bringing RSI down. So overall, the 1 hour doesn't look positive. With that VWAP breaking back into the bearish territory, if we don't get a very weak low and then peak back up for some strong highs, we will see the bears regain control and make us push lower. So over on graph for the daily, we pretty much have our full breakdown. We did invalidate that lower time frame pattern, so this does show how higher time frame patterns can lead ahead of those lower time frame patterns. So we do pretty much have our full breakdown from our triangle. We are going to delete it at this point. This could be a positive support area. Again, with that channel that we did invalidate, you want to watch for confirmation, and we didn't have any. Our stochastic is pulling back. RSI is weakening. That VWAP has lower highs, that yellow wave with lower lows, causing momentum to sell off, that blue wave, and our money flow is pulling back, showing that we have more selling pressure as it is deepening into the red. If that continues, we will see continued sell-off. Over on the 4 hour, RSI is starting to pull back. Our stochastic is pretty beat down. It says oversold as it can be. If it does not rebound, RSI will continue to drag down, bringing price action toward that 16,316 like we've warned. VWAP does want to break that neutral, but we're starting to struggle, so I would watch. If that yellow wave does not hold above that neutral, our momentum, our blue wave, will continue to remain bearish and money flow would sell off. Currently, VWAP is trying to break bullish as signed by that double green dot on that momentum. If that VWAP can remain bullish and we get stronger highs with higher lows, we could see momentum push forward and money flow gain strength. But if we continue to remain bearish on lower time frames, that's not likely going to happen. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is starting to round away. RSI is breaking down. The VWAP does want to pull back, so I would watch. It does have a very weak high. Technically, it's a higher high with higher lows, so technically it has a bullish trend, but it's a very weak bullish trend. So I would just exercise caution as we are starting to break away. We did have the same consolidation after a breakdown to create a bear flag as we saw on futures. VWAP is pushing down, momentum wants around, and money flow is remaining more bearish because of this. Over on the 1 hour, we are rejecting that blue EMA, and we are pulling under our green EMA. These are our lowest EMAs, our weakest EMAs. So if we continue to reject them, we don't have very high hopes of gaining bullish traction. VWAP is continuing to push down with lower highs and lower lows. Stochastic is breaking away with that orange above blue, and RSI is pulling back as a result. If that stochastic continues to sell off here, RSI will continue to bring our price action lower, and we will continue to trend down, potentially breaking that 316 or the 16316 and pushing to the 14316. VWAP is bearish, bringing our momentum lower with that red dot, bringing money flow down. If that VWAP does not break back into the bullish territory and hold a bullish trend, we will see the bears regain control of the lower time frames, and that will result in those higher time frames continuing to break down, if I can get the word out there. So over on Ankr for the daily, we do have the same breakdown. We don't have quite as much of a movement down as we did on graph, but we did still move through our 2673. We rejected that 2883. Stochastic is pulling back. RSI is starting to drop down. VWAP is bearish. Our momentum is rounding, and money flow is selling off due to the VWAP and momentum starting to break down. Need something to drink, obviously. My throat's getting a little dry, but we'll keep going along. So over on the 4-hour, we have a pretty quick drop. Remember, a quick drop, just like a quick rise, is usually retraced by the opposite move, so we could see some surprise support and an attempt to push forward. I would watch for our indicators to suggest that, though. RSI does want to pull back. Our VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum's pushing down, and money flow is pulling back, so I would watch the 1 and 2 hour close. They need to break a bullish trend if we're going to see a continuation to the upside. Otherwise, if we remain bearish, we're going to continue to sell off. Stochastic is starting to pull back here on the 2 hour. RSI is rounding away. VWAP did break bullish, but it's starting to pull back, testing that neutral. If we get a lower low, we will start to push lower. However, if we can make a bounce here, we would get a higher low. Then if we can follow it with strong highs, like back here, not like here, then we could see price action gain strength. If we get weak highs after getting the bounce, it does give us a chance to get temporary relief and then push possibly toward our 26 resistance, then get rejected and see a tumble down. Our momentum is trying to push forward as that VWAP was breaking up, but the momentum is kind of tapering off as that VWAP is losing that strength. Over on the 1 hour, we are starting to break our support area, so you can see we hit it several times, showing when you hit a support level, each time it does make it weaker, and that does increase the odds of breaking through it. Stochastic does want to break down. That does also work for resistance. VWAP is breaking down. We did get lower highs with lower lows, so that's a bearish trend that is continuing the previous bearish trend, causing momentum to round with that red dot, and money flow is rejecting. We need this to reverse if we're going to gain that bullish traction. Over on XRP for the daily, we did get a pretty strong rejection of our channel, like we said to watch out for, and we broke our 45 like we mentioned we could see. So we are going to delete all these channels as they've all played out at this point. I would just exercise caution, because if we don't hold this area, we can zoom out. We do have a previous support area where there was a lot of consolidation right around this like 38-35 zone, just below that 42 zone that we're heading toward. If we don't hold on that 42, that 38 to 35 is going to be our next support. Over on the daily, stochastic is breaking, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is pushing down, momentum's rejecting with the red dot, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 4 hour, we are rejecting EMAs and continuing to slide down. RSI is pulling back, VWAP does want to round, momentum is breaking down, money flow is starting to pull back, so overall we don't look very positive. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is starting to round. I would watch. If it rejects, we could see a continuation to the downside. RSI is pulling back, momentum does want to push up as that VWAP was breaking bullish, but that VWAP is very weak, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is dropping away, VWAP does want to break down, momentum is rounding with a red dot, so overall we're not very positive. If we break this 43-42 area, we are going to continue lower, possibly toward that 35. So finally, on ALGO for the daily, we are seeing a break of our channel here as well. It's not the full breakdown, but I would exercise caution, because if the rest of the market continues to drop, we will possibly see most of this breakdown. Stochastic is starting to drop down, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is bearish, momentum is rounding, and the money flow is starting to break down, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on the 4-hour, our RSI is pulling back. VWAP does want to round away, so I would watch. If that VWAP breaks away from that neutral here, we will see momentum remain bearish and money flow will continue to pull back. That will give us that continuation to the downside and higher chances to see that 1250 area. Over on the 2-hour, we do have the similar consolidation going on. It is more of a descending channel, but the highs and lows don't connect well, so that's more of that bearish continuation that will break you down. Our RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic is dropping, VWAP does want to break down, momentum is curling, and money flow is starting to reject, so we're not looking too positive. Over on the 1-hour, we do have a slight gap to the upside, so that could be positive, providing the rest of the market meets support. Stochastic is dropping away, RSI is falling down, VWAP has consistent highs but lower lows, so I would watch as that is causing momentum to drop, and money flow is weakening. Overall, if that does not reverse, we will continue to the downside. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.